Happy Revenge of the Fifth. My name is Ben Friedman, or you can call me Ben Solo with this outfit. And today I get to talk about something really special to me, the Star Wars prequel, specifically the 25-year anniversary of Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. I got to see this for the first time in theaters this weekend in honor of May the 4th and in honor of the 25th anniversary of Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. I should just note right now, I am 26 years old, which means when The Phantom Menace came out in 1999, guess who was too young to go see this movie? That's right, this guy. I was way too young to see this movie. Thus, getting to see Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace in theater was a pretty exciting thing for me. So I apologize in this review. I am going to try to be critical. I am going to talk about this movie as honestly as I can. And I also have to fully admit it, I'm a kid of the early 2000s. I grew up with The Phantom Menace. So am I a little apologetic for it in some scenes? Oh, you bet you I am. But Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, there's no really reason to relegate this movie or talk about the story. You know what it is. It's the prequels. It's the beginning of the prequels. This is where we learn how Anakin Skywalker became Darth Vader. This is where we learn about the fall of the Republic, everything that leads up to it in this movie, and that's what this movie is here to explore. And let's just kind of start off with a few things, because I do want to talk about a few subjects in it, and specifically George Lucas. I think he is the man of the hour here with Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, and what I like so much about what George Lucas brings to this story is his sense of scale and scope. While he isn't always the best dialogue writer, I think it's very safe to say that sometimes his dialogue can come off very clunky and his story pacing isn't always up to par. I think what he does do very well is he has very philosophical ideas. He has ideas of the world and how he wants this world to feel and look, and also the big thematic themes that he is hitting in this movie. What you are supposed to believe in The Phantom Menace is that this Republic is so far more concerned with upkeeping the peace and relegating order that it doesn't really look out for threats, that it doesn't really see the potential of a fall. It's not seeing the cracks in the institution. And you see this very early on in the movie in the way that the Jedi practice, specifically in their relationship with Anakin Skywalker, and not wanting him to be who he is or who they think he could be, and all these old relic rules about who can and cannot be a Jedi. You're supposed to kind of see this hubris of the Jedi Order and what will lead it to fall, how they're almost to some degree so head in the sand, refusing to notice this threat, that they don't see it coming. And that's kind of the thematic value of The Phantom Menace. Filoni has already talked about it in this, the idea of the duel of the fates being essentially the duel for Anakin's soul. If Qui-Gon wins, that Anakin can still have light, and that if Darth Maul wins, that this will eventually lead to the downfall of the Republic and the loss of this child and his mentor. And that's what this film is exploring. It's exploring fate, and it's exploring the choices that people make and have. And I really like this as a thematic weight for The Phantom Menace. Does this movie always get there? Not really. I can't say that this movie always gets there. There are certain scenes that I think get there very well. Hello. It's getting really hot under there. Like I said, there are moments, and I think Duel of the Fates is probably the key one for a lot of people. Duel of the Fates is the moment where I think this movie sings, and I think most of us probably agree that this is when the movie is at its best, when Duel of the Fates is happening. I think the choreography of this, I think John Williams is the maestro of this universe, and everything very successful at the prequels. One underlying thing that they all have is a John Williams score underneath it. I think he really works in this movie and the prequels. I've said it and I've argued it. I honestly think John Williams' score in the prequels, I should say, may be better than his original trilogy score. blasphemous, I know. Maybe that's the rose-colored glasses that I'm wearing in honor of the Phantom Menace. Maybe it's my own nostalgia coming to play here. But there is certainly a lot to like of this movie. Darth Maul, Ray Park just looks incredible in this role. Just the physicality, the intimidation of this. I wish we really did get to see more of Darth Maul live action. I kind of wish he was the overarching villain of the prequels, or at the very least episode 1 and 2. I don't love that they switched from Maul to Dooku, then Palpatine. Wish we kind of got something a little bit more consistent. There is certainly stuff that I don't love in this movie. I know some people love pod racing. It's never been for me. I find it very static. I find the action just kind of repetitive throughout it. So there are certain scenes. Some of the Trade Federation stuff just doesn't work. I think this is, again, to kind of see this galaxy and these politicians who think everything is of order and this is how they keep the order, and that no longer being the correct way to do it. That something so much worse is knocking at their doorsteps, and they almost seem blind to it due to their day-to-day bureaucracy and rules and silliness that's all going on. I think that is at least the very ideas that the Phantom Menace is playing with. Is it that the entire time? It's hard to say. I think it certainly, though, rears its head in this movie to really good effects. And some of it is clunky. Some of this movie does really feel a little weighted down. I think some of the performances, I don't really want to relegate the Jake Lloyd conversation of the Ahmad best. They've taken their lumps. They've taken their hits. There's valid criticisms of these performances. People have also been extremely harsh and mean to them. So I'm not going to really pile on with them, except the fact that I think Ahmad Best is actually giving a good performance in a movie that doesn't know how to use Jar Jar or really should even have Jar Jar in this movie. I think Ahmad Best, for what he is doing as an actor, how groundbreaking this animation style and the CGI style of bringing this character to life was, I think Ahmad Best really does do a good job. Jake Lloyd, on the other hand, not always the best actor. There are certainly criticisms to have about his performance in this movie, but he's such a young actor, and I just don't think anything does us any favors. I think the script doesn't give him any great lines. I don't think the chemistry with Natalie Portman works in this movie. He just doesn't really click with anyone, and I just don't think the story was ever meant in a way for him to click with anyone. It's just one of those things where it's just like, I think had someone else written this part could have been a little bit better and meatier for an actor, and maybe all of a sudden some of the stuff that doesn't work about Jake Lloyd begins working, where there's just more juice to this character and the dialogue that he gives. But besides that, I could go on about the Phantom Menace. People have talked about this movie for years. I certainly think it is a movie well worth watching. This is my second favorite prequel. Revenge of the Sith is obviously my favorite. And getting to see some of this movie on the big screen, I mean, Duel of the Fates alone was worth it just to see this movie on the big screen. So I can highly recommend this. I know some people have already gone through the trenches with Phantom Menace in the prequels. For those of you like me who didn't get the chance and who grew up with these movies, can highly recommend this experience. I had a great time this weekend. And sorry about that. And I'm so excited to see the rest of these in theaters, specifically Revenge of the Sith. When the 25th anniversary for that happens, I'm going to be so excited. And yeah, I love Star Wars. What else is there to say? I had a great time with this movie, and I think everyone will. Not everyone will. Let me be very clear on that. Some people will not. The people who want to go see the Phantom Menace in theaters, they know what they're signed up for, and I have a feeling they're going to have a great time. So that's my thought. Those are my reviews. I'm probably wearing some rose-tinted glasses in this. I totally understand. Rose-colored glasses, I mean. I totally understand. It's the prequels. I was legitimately, not even 5 when I saw the Phantom Menace for the first time, and I've seen this movie countless times. I really do enjoy this movie. It's gotten better for me over the years. There are certainly criticisms to it. I also just think what George Lucas accomplishes in this movie is well worth paying attention to, and actually understanding that he has this vision and stuff that works in it, and that it's not just all this toy commercial, even if some of the moments don't work, and even if it doesn't always equate to the highs and highs of the original series. I think George is really pushing himself as a filmmaker in this movie and really trying to go bigger ideas. I think bigger than really anything that the original trilogy tried to go. This is a scope. This is world building at some of its greatest. This is literally just trying to build a legacy and this world, this galaxy. Really, the galaxy really begins to feel fleshed out in the prequels, and I appreciate that from George Lucas and the Phantom Menace. So what else is there to say for me? Not else. May the 4th be with you all. And on a scale of 5 stars for the Phantom Menace, I am going 3.5 out of 5 stars for Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. May the 4th be with you. Revenge of the 5th. All that. Take care, everyone, and thank you so much for watching this video. And if you didn't get the chance, yesterday for May the 4th, Meredith Loftus joined me and re-ranked everything Star Wars. Movies, TV shows, books, comics, video games, all that stuff. We each had 25 items. Well, I had 25, she had 20. But there was a lot of Star Wars conversation in this 2.5 hour episode. So I hope you enjoy and check that out. Thank you all so much for watching. Take care.